Should I do my intro?
I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm feeling One Piece pretty hard right now.
Game of One Piece. See what I did there?
One. Coming to you live from Dr. Ian's nose, it's your boy Jay West here, my co-host Mac East.
What up, nerds? It's me, Mac East. That was an unexpected one. There's like so many locations in this, and it's fine. It's fine. All right.
No, I refuse to use locations because I hated this chick's nose.
This episode we're covering episodes 78 to 92. It was a big chunk. If you're watching on Netflix, it's I believe season 3.
Yep.
I don't know what it is on Funimation or whatever, but doesn't matter. 78 to 92. Yeah, so first impressions on this block.
I did not like it.
All right. That's cool. You know,
all right. Continue. I'm sorry.
So there was a point where you were like, oh, I'm like into One Piece now, and this was, in my mind, I was like, he's not going to like this block.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Honestly, I didn't remember much from this block at all. I rewatched it and I remembered very little.
This shit was trash, but goddamn did it work my emotions. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it got me a couple times, tugging at the old heartstrings.
Yeah, there was some really, really cool moments. Yeah, the fighting really sucks in this block.
I hated the setting. I hated the plot line.
So that's interesting. Let's start with the setting then, because so Drum Island is a snow island.
Fucking stupid.
They were known for their doctors at some point. And the Straw Hats go there because Nami, she got bit on Little Garden, and now she's like fucking got a fever and shit.
Yeah, she's all fucked up. She's jacked up, guys.
So somehow they find this island, even though it's not on the log post. I don't know how that ends up happening. Whatever. Already they're breaking the rules on the log post, but whatever. Yeah, so they get to Drum Island. It's a snowy island. They're like, get the fuck out of here, pirates. Luffy's ready to whip some ass. And Vivi actually...
Before they get to the island, you forgot to bring up the...
Ugh. Well, we'll get to him. I just wanted to kind of give the setting a little.
All right.
So it's like a snowy island. Okay, so I'll bring him up just so the island used to be run by this dude Wapol. He's this big fat asshole. So the island had all these doctors. He decides to ban every doctor on the island except 20, which he hoards to himself. He's essentially hoarding medical care for himself. And if anybody wants it, they got to pay like crazy prices for it.
Quick question. With this dude, is his jaw made of metal?
It certainly looks that way. He's got like the Homer Simpson look. Like,
dude, all right, thank God, because I was like, he looks like Homer Simpson.
Yeah, it's like Homer's stubble. That's what his like jaw looks like, but it looks like it's also got like nails in it. Or
shit.
Yeah.
And the weird part about this whole thing is the fact that it stretches.
Yeah, so he ate the munch fruit, Wapol. This dude, he's like one of the look. He presents a good villain in some ways, but he's just awful. Like, terrible. He's awful to look at. He doesn't fight well. There are some funny moments, but yeah, it's weird because his atrocities are so horrible, like keeping medical care from his people, but then he's played up for laughs most of the time. It's such a weird like balance.
That's a good way of putting it.
So, yeah, so he takes all the doctors. Okay, yeah, so Luffy ends up punching him off he starts eating the Going Merry for some reason.
Because he tries to rob them and they don't have any food or anything like that, so he starts eating the ship.
Yeah, so the munch fruit lets him just eat anything he wants. So Luffy just punches him off the boat, and that's kind of it for that. And then, so they get to this island. Luffy's like, yo, we need a doctor. They're like, get out of here, pirates. Luffy's like, yo, I'm gonna kick some ass. And this is like one of the first interesting moments in this arc. Vivi like shits on Luffy. She's like, yo, you're like a fucking shitty leader if this is how you're gonna act. She's like, you can't just start punching motherfuckers. Like, we need to like talk to people so we can get her a doctor. Like, you beating the shit out of him is not gonna help.
Because Luffy's not a diplomat. He's just he's a pirate.
But he listens. Because there's actually even a point later where the whole scene he can't fight back, and he listens to that. So it's like, I don't want to say it's like great character development, but it's interesting. He definitely takes what Vivi says into some consideration, I guess.
Right. Well, I mean, he has to have some type of learning curve.
Yeah, and it's cool that he does, because he is like his fucking crew will die for him, so he should be a little smarter about the way he does things.
Yeah, but I mean, also in the same sense, he'll die for them. But that's mainly his plan, is to just go in and just die trying, if anything.
Yeah, so they're like, yo, we don't even got doctors, we can't help you. But somehow they get onto the island. And then they find out that they say there's a witch in this castle.
So, here we go.
And she practices medicine. So Luffy's
Witch
like,
girl.
all right.
Remember that, she's a witch. She looks like a witch.
So Luffy's like, all right, I'm a carry Nami up this mountain. And him and Sanji go. Which is a cool scene. I guess there's a little detour before that. Zoro's training and he wants to take off his clothes and train in the ice cold water.
Yeah.
It's kind of a funny scene, I guess. Just like
it's very weird. I hate the fucking setting. I hate this area.
I think, okay, so I like the setting in that it allows for some really cool shots and animation and stuff. I'm kind of a sucker for snow. Even in like comic books and stuff, like I always like snow scenes.
Really?
I don't like snow levels in video games because I hate sliding on ice and shit. But
all right, that's fair. I can get behind that. That makes sense.
But like, I don't know, I don't know. It's cool shots. I guess so. You don't like the snow?
No, I did not like the snow. I didn't enjoy it. That's just me. I didn't enjoy this. This whole arc was kind of whack, except for the end, and I feel like it was dragged out way too long. So
yeah, that's so one of the main problems with One Piece is the pacing. They're like if they could, and I don't know if this is the true with the manga because I've been slacking on that, but if they would like condense certain things, it would be perfect. But they do tend to drag shit out.
The fucking backtracking was ridiculous.
So yeah, so I like Luffy climbing the mountain. I thought that shit was fun. Like the rabbits, the Loppins start attacking him and Sanji, and Sanji's like, yo, you can't fight because it's gonna fuck Nami up. Like you have to just not fight. And Luffy's like, all right. And then the fucking stupid giant rabbit. What'd you think of the giant rabbits?
You know what's funny? Because in the We Get Dub podcast, we covered The Age of Brutality and we covered Blood Sea, which is one of the shittiest animes I've ever fucking seen. I just want to throw that out there. And there's these giant violent rabbits that eat people. And it's just like, I feel like this is a recurring theme.
Yeah, what a weird coincidence, right? Like
giant fighting bunnies. And then all of a sudden, for some reason, it made me think of Monty Python and the bunny, like the evil bunny.
I don't think I've seen that.
All right, I'm gonna send you a clip later of it's too fucking much to get into right now. But anyway, so they're fighting these bunnies. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Like kung fu bunnies, and it was funny though because like they were trying to attack Luffy and Sanji the whole time and just missing. Like,
yeah.
And then
yes,
like,
Sanji kicks a few.
Yeah, he was kicking the shit out of people.
Yeah.
Like I like Sanji kind of grows on me at times, and then he just like completely pisses me off. Like, why are you like this?
That's pretty much Sanji. Yeah,
He's like little windows of awesomeness, and then he goes right back to being like, "Oh my god, I hate this character so fucking much."
He didn't do a ton in this arc. Again, like the last 2 blocks of episodes we watched, he didn't do very much. But it's pretty cool. So the Loppins start an avalanche, and he essentially sacrifices himself to save Luffy and Nami. And that was a cool moment for Sanji. Yeah, so the stupid fucking Loppins start an avalanche, which also they get caught up in because they're fucking morons. And yeah, basically, so Luffy saves Sanji, but Sanji's like freezing, so Luffy has to like give him his jacket and shit. So Luffy's like freezing to death, carrying Sanji and fucking Nami.
Oh my god, they run this joke so many times that Luffy's like basically so stupid that he doesn't realize that he's cold.
Yeah, that it's kind of funny sometimes, but
They do
This
it
one was-
too many times, man.
this one was played a little more. This point was played a little more seriously when they're actually like after the avalanche, because that's when he starts actually like first he saves the Lopin's parent, because Luffy's cool like that, even though they just tried to fucking kill him. He's like, all right, and he like fucking pulls one of them out of the avalanche, and the baby's like hyped, and then he starts climbing the fucking mountain, and he's like fucking fingers are bleeding and shit. It's like really fucking cool.
Yeah, because I mean, you would probably be dead trying to climb a frozen mountain.
Wait, is this before or after fucking Wobble shows up?
That's after. Because Wobble shows up before they get to the island.
No, but he shows up again. Remember, because
Yeah. He doesn't show up till like the middle of the arc.
there's a point where Luffy can't fight him because
Because he has to get a coat.
well, not because he has to get a coat, but because he can't fight because he's got Nami on his back. And then
Oh yeah. That happens while he's climbing up.
yeah, and then Luffy refuses to fight Wapple and his stupid henchmen. The one dude just like has afros on his hands.
I
And then
hate these henchmen so much. I thought the Baroque dudes were lame. Oh my goodness gracious.
So he can't fight them, but the Lopins end up protecting Luffy. Luffy climbs the fucking mountain. He's got bloody fingers and shit. And then he's like face is like getting frostbitten and stuff, which I thought was really cool. And then he like gets to the top and passes out, and then that's when we meet Dr. Correa and the
What
next.
a weird character. Like, is she good? Is she bad? Is she in between? Is she just a dick? Like,
I don't. So we actually meet her earlier. She's like she cures some kid that like almost dies, and then she like we think she's good, and then she's like, "Yo, I'm gonna take like half your profits from your store to the parents." So she's kind of an asshole. She's a good doctor in the sense that she's good at healing people, but she's also kind of an asshole because she charges crazy prices for her work.
I hate her so much.
And she is literally, because Wapple left with the doctor, with the 20 MDs that were left, so she is literally the only doctor on the island. So she's kind of exploiting people.
And she's such a dick about everything.
Yeah, also I can't tell if it's like, because like Nami will like knock out Luffy sometimes, in like a joking manner, and she like be knocking dudes out, Korea, but I can't tell if she's actually strong or if it's
Apparently
just like
she's strong because like she could fight. She beats the shit out of Sanji a couple times.
right, but that's what I mean. Like I don't know if that's like jokey strength, like because sometimes like Nami knocks people out as a joke, even though she
I think for her they're trying to be funny, but at the same time show you like that she is strong and that she can be serious, I guess.
So you think Correa can throw hands? She is kind of a weird. She also dresses like a teenager. Like she's got the belly shirt with the pierced fucking stomach. She's got like
Very weird. What is she, like 200 years old or some shit like that?
yeah. I think she's 139 or something. At some point too, she like bends over and you see her ass crack. Like it's just her outfit is just so absurd.
She's dressed like Lita.
Yeah, she is. Like almost identical. But then she's got like this old witch face. I like her. She's cool. I think the medical, because I don't know, maybe because of the country we live in, but the medical stuff it hits a certain nerve.
All right. Well,
because like I want to like her, but then I'm like, yo, she's like exploiting these fucking people, just like everybody else.
I don't want to like her.
So yeah, so then we meet. So she essentially saves Nami. She tells Nami that she would have died in like another 2 days if she didn't get medical attention.
Yeah, they were like, she has to do this, otherwise she'll die, blah, blah, blah. So Nami's basically dying. They gotta save her, yada, yada, yada. I hate this fucking shit. I hate this. It's so stupid. She just lays in bed for the entire arc. She's just in bed.
So I actually kind of like it from the aspect that, I don't know, we see her get bit earlier on, and you don't think much of it, but they do show it. So you're like, why did they show that? And then it comes into play in like an interesting way in that how often do you see anybody get sick in fucking cartoons?
Yeah, but then they play the whole like, oh, she would have been dead if you didn't get her as soon as you did. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. So she's fine essentially. Maybe would have died, but she's fine. Luffy's fine. Sanji's fine. They're all fucked up. But Sanji apparently has like a fucked up back that he almost would have been fucking paralyzed from the waist down if he like kept moving or something. I don't know. I don't understand the science, but so then we meet fucking Chopper, who, spoiler alert, is the next Straw Hat.
Pretty fucking cool, I gotta say. I like him.
So you like Chopper?
I fuck with him a lot. He's really cool. He's a very, very diverse character.
All right, cool. So let's spend some time on Chopper. I'm glad you like him. I think there's sometimes where he's really funny and he's like, I love when he gets compliments and he's like, gets all fucking embarrassed and he's like, shut up. And he's like fucking doing that wiggle.
He's very interesting. And like, I mean, his backstory alone, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so he's essentially still a child. He's pretty young. I think he's like 13 or something like that. He's a baby compared to the rest. Yeah, so you want to get into his backstory? Let's so first, okay, before we get into his backstory, this is how it plays out for like 3 episodes. Luffy sees Chopper. He's like, "Oh shit, meat." And then he just starts chasing Chopper to try and eat him. And Sanji's like, "Yo, I'm gonna cook that fucking reindeer." So the two of them just chase Chopper around for 3 episodes while Dr. Rean explains Chopper's origin to Nami. It's whatever. It's fine, I guess. It's kind of a dumb joke.
But, then they come to the realization that he talked.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, he's a monster. And then Chopper hears that and then gets all upset.
Yeah, because he's been, like, kind of an outcast his whole life. So he thinks they're like talking shit. And as soon as he walks away, Luffy's like, it's so cool. And then, of course, Chopper doesn't
I really like it sucks though, because like Chopper, you really fucking feel for him, man. Like I really was like feeling for this little dude because he was originally just a reindeer.
Yeah, okay, so I my girlfriend was watching his backstory with me. And I'm like explaining to her what he is, and I'm like, yeah, it is. So he's like a reindeer that eats the human fruit, and he becomes like part human. And she's like, yo, do you hear yourself? And I'm like, nah, I know. It's like it's supposed to be ridiculous, but it's also like it's kind of cool because we see like we see Dalton who could turn into an ox. So we see that there are devil fruits that can turn you into animals, but it's cool that like this is coming from a perspective of an animal. And not just another human.
Dude,
human
that this fucking poor little fucking reindeer faces. Jesus.
So we find out that he was a reindeer. Everybody fucking hated him because his nose was blue on some like.
That was some Rudolph shit. Rudolph shit. I don't understand humans' logic. Like the second they see something, they have like immediately we have to kill it.
Yeah. So then he eats the human fruit, and he's like, "Oh well, my reindeer friends hate me. Maybe I'll go talk to the humans now that I'm human." And as soon as they see him, they're like, "Yeti!" And they just start fucking shooting. They actually do hit him with bullets.
Yeah, they fuck him up.
Yeah, he gets fucked up pretty good. And Chopper is like human form. The big one is fucking awesome looking.
Yo, he's jacked as fuck.
It's so ridiculous. Like, I don't know why he's jacked, because like when he's in his little form, he's like just pudgy and tiny. And then he just gets fucking huge.
It's very interesting to watch because he's so tiny with that little ass hat.
Yeah, so that I guess let's talk about zone fruit real quick. So we learned that there's a specific type of devil fruit called zone fruits. We learned this through Dalton, who was like a soldier. And we find out that there's basically 3 forms from zone people. It's not exactly defined what the 3 forms are, but yeah. So Chopper basically has 3 forms. He could turn into like a regular reindeer. He turns into a little pudgy guy with a hat, and then he turns into a big jack dude. So yeah, I think it becomes better with that later. But yeah, it is kind of tiresome right now, where it's like, everybody has a fucking devil fruit. Especially like every new character we meet, because some like the Straw Hats don't have devil fruits outside of Luffy.
Yeah,
But
no one else really had. They all just kind of badass.
yeah, because early on, I think it seems like the East Blue doesn't have a ton of devil fruits. Like even the main villain there, Arlong, had no devil fruit. So
Yeah, they're like, but that was the thing in the first like 50 episodes or so. Like motherfuckers were just gangsters as fuck, rolling around beating the shit out of people off their own merit.
and part of it might be that he's trying to like show how crazy the Grand Line is, because there are like just these devil fruit users all over the place. But
Yeah, but like, what the fuck? A reindeer? Like,
yeah, so all right, so I agree.
I didn't mind that part. Like, I was like, okay, a random animal like that makes sense. Could find the fruit and eat it. Fine, I get that. But then we have the other dude who's an ox, and it's like, why did we need this?
Well, I'll tell you why that's there. He's specifically there to explain the zone fruit.
No, and I know, and it's so stupid. It's a fucking plot hole cover.
We'll see that there's other one like that. I think there's 3 altogether. I'm not gonna get into them. We'll get into them as they explain them.
Yeah, they suck, man. But,
It does.
Chopper's cool as hell. Like I fuck with him, but the whole fruit thing is starting to get on my nerves because I'm like, all right, what like, who doesn't have powers at this point?
Yeah, this next arc that we're gonna watch is full of devil fruit users. And then it kind of slows down a bit on that. So get ready for more devil fruits. But yeah, so let's get back into Chopper's origin, I guess. He I don't know, you want to. So he's found by Dr.
Wiley.
Hiruluk. If I'm saying that right, I'm gonna just say the dude with the cherry blossoms.
He reminds me a lot of Dr. Wiley. I have no idea why.
He finds Chopper all shot up because the humans fucking just put a bunch of bullets in him, and he basically heals him because he's a quack doctor. But I guess he knows medicine enough to heal Chopper. And yeah, so he's got this like weird fucking dream. He tells this story about like a thief that's like was dying of, I don't remember what it was, some sort of sickness. And he sees some cherry blossom trees and it like heals him.
Right.
So he's got this idea that like you can be healed psychologically, like you can be healed like your medical problems.
It's a good thing, you know, because like we've seen like in actual medical cases like where you can make up some shit and make yourself sick in a way.
Oh, it actually makes a lot of sense. Psychology does definitely play a role in how our bodies fight sicknesses and stuff.
Yeah, so I mean that part I got that part. I was like, all right, that's cool. That's realistic.
Are cherry blossoms the way to do that? I don't know, but they are cool to look at, I guess.
I mean, if I was all fucked up and I guess I seen something beautiful, I would make me feel a little better. I guess I don't know.
And it's also implied that the cherry blossoms not only healed him of the sickness, but it stopped him from being a thief. Like he kind of got a new appreciation.
It was just like, you know, like he had an epiphany, seeing something so beautiful, changed his life, you know, that type of stuff.
So yeah, so him and Chopper hang out for like a year or something. He like teaches Chopper some stuff about medicine, but not a ton. And we get this like montage of them hanging out and shit. He gives Chopper his hat. He gives Chopper his name. He calls him Tony Chopper.
Fucking cool. I like that name.
Which I don't know. He's very rarely called Tony, but it's fucking hilarious. I don't understand why you need 2 Tonys, but it's funny.
It's dope name, man. Fuck that.
And Chopper's cool. That's a cool name.
Tony Chopper. That's that man, bro.
So after a while, the doctor White Fangs Chopper. He's like, "Yo, get the fuck out of here!" And he like shoots at Chopper. And Chopper's like, "Yo, what the fuck?"
I hate that. It was so unnecessary.
It really. Yeah, we find out he's dying. So I guess he just kind of doesn't want to die in front of Chopper. I don't know. I don't know what his logic was there.
They're trying to protect him or something. And
it seemed unnecessary. That part was like, when that happened, I was like, what the fuck? And I felt bad for Chopper because Chopper had like only known shitty people outside of this dude. So, and we see that he asks Correa to not. Hiruluk asks Correa to take care of Chopper when he dies. And he tells her that he's like almost done with he's got like 10 days to live, and he's almost done with his fucking cherry blossom research. And then I don't know, I don't remember how I guess Chopper overhears some mushroom as like a heal all thing.
This shit got me fucked up.
This scene is so fucking crazy, man. This part I remembered zero of. I think I was just not paying attention or something.
I'm not gonna lie, like this shit made me tear up. Like this shit made me tear up.
Yeah, it's really fucked up. So Chopper like busts ass to get this mushroom. He like gets jumped by the reindeer.
Yo, the reindeer has one of the reindeer. He has like this fucking X scar on his head, and him and Chopper headbutt each other, and like, man, Chopper's all fucked up. This reindeer's bleeding from his skull. Like they're beating the shit out of each other. Chopper's like, I gotta make it across. And as he has this epiphany, the fucking reindeer gets back up. And then it cuts to Dr. Wily's castle in the trees. And Chopper's just sitting there with a broken leg, swollen eyes, like
a missing antler. Like he's fucking, one of his antlers is broken off.
Roy.
And he's like, yo, I got you this mushroom to heal you.
And it's not even real.
Not only is it not real, we find out the fucking mushroom is poisonous. And fucking Dr. Wily, Dr. Hero Look, he eats it anyway. He's like, fuck it, I'll eat, because Chopper went through all of this, and this dude's dying already, so he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna eat this poison, just to like make Chopper think that it wasn't for nothing. And he only had 10 days, but he knocks off some days by drinking this fucking soup that Chopper makes. And yeah, it's fucked up, man. Like it's when you find out that it's fucking poisonous, I think Correa comes in and she just starts like smacking Chopper around, and he's like, "Yo, it's in this
bullshit because it wasn't fair." Like the dude lied, and I know he never expected Chopper to go get this mushroom.
Yeah, he doesn't. He sees that. So the reason this happens because Chopper has the book with the mushroom in it. He steals this medical book from Hero Look, but so Hero Look tells him earlier that like pirates are awesome and like they live and they fucking fight hard for their dreams or whatever. And he's got this cherry blossom fucking Jolly Roger, which is pretty cool. So Chopper sees the skull and crossbone next to the fucking mushroom in the book. And he's like, oh, so that must mean it's awesome because skull and crossbones are fucking the pirate symbol. And that's awesome.
Yeah.
So he like has no idea that shit means like it'll kill you. So it's kind of, it is, the way it all plays out is like, it all actually, it plays out pretty perfectly in that sense. Like, they explain why he sees these skull and crossbones and doesn't understand it and everything, so.
I didn't like that part. And then when fucking Dr. Ean is beating the fuck out of him, that was fucked up.
Yeah,
like,
she just fucks Chopper up. She's like, that shit's poisonous. You fucking killed him.
And she's like, you're never going to be a doctor. You have no training.
Yeah, it's fucked up, man. And this kid's like fucking has no idea what to do.
He knows that he's going to kill him. And this whole time, then Dr. Wily rolls up to the fucking, what's his name? I hate all these characters.
Wapple?
Wapple.
So this is
on him.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you're sick.
Well, he thinks that so Wapple lies and says that the 20 MDs are sick to lure out Hero Look, which is like fucked up. And then he goes there to heal the doctors, and Wapple's like, you idiot. Like, they're not sick at all. Why would you even come try and help them? Like, because Wapple's just a selfish piece of shit.
Yeah.
But this gets Dalton. Dalton's out after he sees this. And basically he's like, yo, Hero Looks like, yo, Chopper, you're not going to be the one that killed me. Like, and he fucking blows himself up.
Yeah. He fucking just drank something and blows himself up.
And I'm not sure that makes Chopper feel any better at all.
And before he dies, he's like, yo, a monster's going to come. And then Chopper bugs out, goes Super Saiyan, and fucking just runs up this rope.
Yeah, his eyes are like red and shit. Like
it was intense because he's all like, he's still like hurt. Like he's really hurt.
Yeah.
And he just, like, the whole thing was just very fucking emotional. Like, this, like, I would have been fine if this all was condensed into, like, 3 episodes.
Yeah, I think, you know what?
It would be, like, 7 episodes to get to this point. and I
You know,
hate.
you know what happens to like all the like Luffy chasing Chopper around? The reason that shit happens is because this is a weekly show, so they're like trying to establish what's happening every fucking week, and
I
we're
get
watching it like binging, so we don't need that. You know what I mean? Like we just could just do Chopper's origin without all the Luffy chasing Chopper to eat him bullshit. So yeah, there's a lot of like stuff like that like because this show was meant for weekly viewers, it kind of when you're binge watching it kind of drags more than it has to. And there's other reasons it drags. That's not the only reason. But, yeah, so that brings us back to the present, and I don't know what else is there. So then there's the Wapol fight. Wapol shows up to the fucking castle with his two stupid henchmen, and that's when Luffy, Sanji, and Chopper go out there to fuck shit up.
Yeah, and Sanji doesn't do shit again.
Yeah, I'm so disappointed because I'm like, all right, Sanji's finally gonna like do some cool shit, and then Dr. Ian immediately just whips his ass, and she's like, yo, if you keep fucking around, you're gonna like not be able to walk. Your spine is fucked up. So he's just like pinned down by her the whole fucking time.
Yeah, and then he has to make a like, oh, you want to get your ass kicked by a young hot old lady or some shit like that.
Yeah, it's funny because it's kind of
Anytime someone calls her old, she beats the fuck out of him.
Yeah, it's a dumb gag. But this is when we see Chopper in action fighting, which is kind of a cool moment. So Wapol turns into the Munch Munch Factory, which is like fucking stupid. But I love that like Luffy's so hyped about it. Every time Luffy gets hyped about a bad guy's transformation, it just fucking kills me because he's so fucking stupid. But but Wapol eats his henchmen and then mixes them together, and then and then they fight. Chopper fights the two of them combined, and the Afro dude, who not only has afros on his hands but can pull chunks of afro out of his hair and throw it at people for some reason.
And then so his chunks of hair stick to people, and he's like, I don't condition my hair. So it's like static electricity, and then the other guy shoots flaming arrows at it to light you on fire.
Yeah, it's really, and I'm glad they're not like he ate the hair fruit or something. Like I'm glad we don't get anything like that.
It's just weird because he's just pulling a piece of his fro out, and then he just lobs it at you.
Big ass pieces of fro too.
And his hair doesn't stop. Like it's just growing forever.
He's even got little afros like hanging down his Fu Manchu. Like he's got the Fu Manchu stash, and then he's got two little afros at the bottom of the mustache.
So ridiculous.
He's mad dumb. And then the
these were
Jester.
Yeah,
Jester
I don't
looking
know
guy.
what the fuck he is. I kept thinking Jester, but then like they fuse together.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Wapol with the Munch Munch Factory fuses them, which is an interesting. The Munch Munch fruit is, if it was with
all this stuff,
if it was with somebody smart, the Munch Munch fruit would be powerful as fuck. But it's
I
with
just
Wapol.
don't think that it's so weird. At one point, he's like, "Give me a rundown of everything I've eaten today."
Yeah, because he can like
shoot it back at you.
Yeah, so he can like shoot he can like pull cannons, make cannons come out of himself and shoot people with
out of his tongue.
Yeah, it's like an overpowered power in a dumb way. Anyway, so the Chopper fight's pretty cool. Chopper eats a rumble ball, which there's not very much explanation for it, but essentially it gives the Zone type 7 transformations instead of 3.
Yeah, I wasn't clear on what that was, how he got his hands on it, where it came from.
So this is something that's bugged me forever because I like I've said a couple times this episode already, I did not pay attention during this arc. And when he eats that rumble ball, like in the future, I'm like, what the fuck is it?
Like a mech.
I'm like, what is the rumble ball? Like I have no idea where it came from. Now in this episode I see that there's like a quick explanation of him having made it over the 4 years that he was with Korea.
But anyway, so Luffy's like, all right, I'll take this guy down, and then fucking Chopper's like, all right, just give me 3 minutes, and I got
the Rumble Ball only lasts 3 minutes, but it gives
And
him
then with
7
the Rumble
transfers.
Ball, it literally looks like he's inside of like a pilot mech. It's like he's like scanning.
Well, yeah, that's so he can. So basically, what the Rumble Ball does is it lets him like add extra power to like a certain body part. So he gets like super arms at one point. He gets like jumping point where he like can jump really high because his legs get strong. Then he gets like the brain point, which is the one where he can fucking pinpoint a weakness, which is probably the most absurd one. Um, and then he's got the other 3 forms. Oh, and then he has like the defense one where he like just turns into a big ball of fur that like can't get fucked up. But yeah, so he uses all this shit. The fight is kind of cool, I guess, right? What'd you think of it?
It was all right. I mean, it's cool because we got to see the other forms or whatever.
I mean, it's exclusively a showcase for Chopper's powers. Like the other dude.
Chopper was on defense for a majority of the fight.
So yeah, he's like jumping around.
The funniest part is when Chopper's like, "All right, I got this," and then fucking Luffy goes, "Beam!" He's gonna shoot a beam.
Yeah, that shit. I wrote that down. That shit's hilarious because he puts his hooves together, and yeah,
it looks
Luffy's
like he's
so
gonna do like
hyped.
a trigun or something like that. And he's like, "Beam!" And they're like, "How do you know?" He's like, "He's gonna shoot a beam."
Yeah, Luffy's so hyped. That
I
shit is
thought he was
mad.
gonna shoot a beam at that point. I was like, "What the fuck? All right, this is
Yeah,
gonna be dope as fuck."
I love how hyped Luffy is during fights. That shit cracks me up. So he doesn't shoot a beam. He just like triangulates some shit, and you see the weakness, and it's like
Uppercuts this dude in his fucking bottom chin.
yeah, he breaks this dude's jaw basically. He like bulks up his arm, and then he just fucking rocks his jaw, and that's pretty much the fight. And then yeah, Wapple's out. Like Wapple left while Luffy was watching this fight because Luffy wasn't paying attention. Apparently nobody was paying attention. And then yeah, Wapple does some weird shit in the castle, man. He eats himself while he's trying to chase Nami, which is it's like such a dumb thing. And then he makes himself skinny, actually, by eating himself.
Yeah.
Which he looked slightly cooler for some reason, but nothing. Anyway.
It's nothing to rave about.
He's like, one part that I was like kind of hyped about because I forgot how this played out. He's like, I'm going to go into my armory and eat like 1,000,000 weapons, and then I'm going to be like a war machine. And I was like, all right, that's cool. And then he can't do it because Nami steals the key, which it's kind of cool because I guess it gives Nami something to do and it uses her like thieving powers in a way, I guess.
She was not around for the entire shit. And then just...
Yeah, so she got to do her one thieving thing, and that's fine. I guess it might have actually helped a lot because if he turned into the war machine he said he was gonna.
Oh yeah, would have been a wrap.
So yeah, so Luffy just chases him around the castle. It's kind of dumb. Luffy like face palms him so he can't open his mouth, and he opens his mouth anyway. And then Luffy's fingers like stretch, and then his mouth turns into a fucking cannon. And he just blasts Luffy.
Yeah, his tongue like turns into a cannon.
Yeah, that was kind of cool actually. I was kind of into that.
I was like, oh shit, it's getting real.
Oh, but I think I'd like to say this. I don't know if it's true. I think this is the last time Luffy like beat somebody in a stupid fucking way.
Oh, I hated this. But in one part of the scene, like Wapple's trying to take down the pirate flag.
Oh, that part's awesome. We skipped that part. Yeah,
I tweeted that shit. Like I was hyped.
This shit is awesome.
Fucking Luffy just grabs the flag and he goes on this rant about how like you'll never understand what this flag really means. It's about someone's dream. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, he's like, you're putting danger on yourself to make yourself free. Like this flag represents danger, but it also represents freedom. And you're like accepting all of those things when you fly that flag.
Yeah, it was dope. Like it was really fucking intense. Like I got so hyped. I literally was like, oh shit.
And that's pretty much how Luffy gets Chopper, because Chopper sees that shit and he's protecting Chopper's flag. Well, here it looks flag.
And then Luffy asks him at one point in the fight, he's like, so what are you? And then Luffy goes, a monster.
Yeah, it's cool. But so Luffy saves the flag. He like gets shot in place of the flag. Then he like rips Nami's coat and ties it back on. Then he gets broken again, and then he like just sticks it into the fucking castle. But the flag still flies, like 4th of July or whatever. But yeah, so he so that happened. So yeah, so Luffy's like fighting him in the castle, and he like, I don't know, he like wraps around him and like smashes him into the fucking roof or something. It's whack. And then he just like gum bazookas him, and he blasts off again like a fucking Team Rocket. Although he doesn't take.
Very disappointing.
Yeah, so like I said, I don't want to promise this, but I think this is the last big boss, the last like big enemy that gets beaten in like a stupid fucking way.
I would hope so.
I think from here on out, things kind of pick up to a more serious tone. And we could. Is there anything else in Drum Island that we need to talk about?
No, just basically Chopper. Oh, Chopper leaving Dr. Ian.
Oh yeah, no, this is important actually. Yeah, so she like wants the key to the armory. She's trying to charge Nami a bunch of money, and Nami's like, "Yo, what if I give you the key to the armory?" And Dr. Ian's like, "All right, fine." So she opens the armory, takes out all these cannons, and we find out. I pretty much knew what was. I don't know if you knew what was happening, but I kind of figured she was filling the cannons with the powder that Hero Look made to make the cherry blossoms.
Oh, this next part is just so stupid.
So she chases Chopper out, which is like, this I hated, like her throwing the fucking axes at him and shit, to get him to go into the sleigh, and then he like grabs the straw hats, gets in the sleigh, and then they fly off like fucking Santa Claus.
Fucking hated this part. Oh,
but I'll say this: this here, I love the animation on all of this. Like when she shoots the cannons, and like it looks like the cherry blossoms are snowing, and they're like flying in the sky. Like all that looked really cool. I hated Chopper like ugly crying to it.
I didn't mind it because it was very sad. Well, I mean, it's the second time we see him ugly cry.
The ugly cries a lot. Like I don't mind if he's like tearing up, but he's just like straight ugly face crying. It's a bit much.
Yeah. All right, that's fair.
And he's like fucking scream crying. He's like, yeah. So anyway, they get him on the boat. And everything's pretty much cool from there. They're like, yo, put chopsticks in your nose. And they all like do dumb shit, and he's like having fun with Luffy and all them. And he's basically like Luffy gets picked up by a bird for some reason. For the second time in the show so far.
Yeah, and then they cook the bird.
Yeah, Luffy beats up the bird, they cook it. And that's pretty much it for Drum Island. And then, so we get, the next 2 episodes are kind of foreshadowing for what's to come. And this is where it starts taking a more, I wanted to say serious tone, and then we meet Mr. 2. What did you think of Mr. 2?
Stupid. It's, oh my God, why? Like, what is, no, once again, another gum fruit.
So Mr. 2 is,
they just called it a gum fruit, devil fruit, whatever.
Mr. 2 is interesting. I think his power is threatening, because I mean, so we see that he can turn into Vivi's father, which that alone is kind of scary, considering we know that Crocodile is trying to start a revolution in Alabasta.
I mean, yeah, it's gonna probably come into play. He's a shapeshifter, correct?
Basically, if he touches your face, he can turn into you.
Such a weird power.
And like Luffy loves it. Him and Luffy and fucking Usopp are all playing around. They love this power. He turns into Nami and shows his tits, of course.
Yeah.
You know, Oolong does that, I'm pretty sure.
Really?
In Dragon Ball with
yes, he does. Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
So this is a trope, I guess. I don't know. Shapeshifters turn into chicks. Anyway, it's whatever. Mr. 2 is weird. I think that, like I said, I think his power is kind of, even though he's ridiculous, his power is a little bit scary in the situation that's coming up. And then then we meet Crocodile. Wait, did I skip Ace? Let's go to Ace. So, this actually happens before they leave Drum Island. So Ace, they're like, yo, we forgot to tell. Oh, no. When they leave, they're like, yo, we forgot to tell them about Ace. And then we meet Ace for the first time. What'd you think of Ace?
He was pretty cool. I haven't seen him do anything yet, so
It's very limited, and his design is pretty cool. And then he has like this dumb moment where they're like, "Yo, you didn't pay for your bill," and he like runs away. But yeah, he's like, "Yo, tell Luffy I'll be in Alabasta for 10 days if he wants to meet me there. If Luffy shows up on this island." So that's interesting. So that's some foreshadowing. Also, we know that Blackbeard showed up on Drum Island. Blackbeard is actually how Wapol gets kicked out of Drum Island. So there's mention of Blackbeard, and we know that Ace is looking for Blackbeard.
yeah.
This is kind of a storyline that runs in the background for a really long time, and the payoff is fucking cool as shit. So that's something to keep an eye on. And then we meet Crocodile. So what'd you think of Crocodile?
Not impressed. I mean, I want to see where this goes.
He's the next big villain. So we get a glimpse of Alabasta. It's a desert kingdom.
Which is very different. I was not expecting it to be a desert.
And it's what's crazy. So we also see that Crocodile has sand powers. I don't think they're fully defined in this scene, but
no, of course not.
But
I immediately thought of Naruto. Like, I forgot that dude's name.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I think sometimes they're like, I think I've seen them both on the Who Would Win Twitter, or maybe it was Crocodile versus Sandman. Anyway, I've seen.
Oh, okay, yeah. I see. It was him versus Sandman, and I didn't know who to vote for because I'd never seen what Crocodile could do.
Yeah, but I don't know how you fight two sand people fighting. I don't know how anybody wins that. Anyway, yeah. So Crocodile, we find out that he's the hero of Alabasta. He's one of the 7 warlords, so he's on par with Mihawk, which is.
I don't think he's on par, but he's up there.
He's one of the 7 warlords, so he's at least entitled in the conversation.
I feel like he's gonna get that ass whooped. Like he's gonna be the fodder. Like.
Yeah, so we find out they consider him a hero in Alabasta, even though we know that he's essentially the villain of this next arc. And we see him fuck up some pirates, and he basically just makes this sandstorm. It's kind of interesting. I don't think it really shows a ton. It definitely leaves a lot open. So I guess that's more or less it. You have anything else you want to touch on?
Not really. I mean, this arc, it definitely went on way too long. I really wasn't a fan. Chopper, awesome character, loved it. Everything else, meh. I'm not a fan of the Baroque guys that much, but better than what we just went through. So I'm glad that they introduced like the 7.
Oh, and that's cool too. Yeah, so we get the 7 world. So we get a lot of world building in the last 2 episodes. We see this 7 warlords. We see how they kind of break down Baroque works, and we see glimpses of Mr. One, who that was never met by Vivi. She mentions Mr. Two, who doesn't have a woman with him. He's the only one that doesn't have a woman companion. So we see those characters. I think we meet Mr. 4. Yeah, Mr. 4 and like Miss Groundhog's Day or some shit. I don't know.
Such a weird name.
So we meet them, and then so we get, and then they talk about the billions and the millions. The billions are like 2,000. No, it's like 500 soldiers for Baroque Works, and then the millions are like 1,500. It all amounts.
They have a lot of soldiers.
Yeah, basically they're 2,000 strong, and they're also heading to Alabasta. So that was a cool setup. Ace being there is a cool setup. Meeting Crocodile and finding out that he's a hero there is kind of cool, I thought. So there's a lot set up here. So, and this is like outside of Arlong Park, which is not that big. This is like the first big major arc that we're about to get into. This is like gonna be at least 2 episodes. It might end up being 3. And I'm hyped for this because it's gonna be cool.
All right, well, I'm going to take your word for it, and I guess we're moving on to the next arc.
Yeah. So I think next time, I looked it up. There's actually 4 filler episodes in the next bunch of episodes. So we're gonna skip the filler, but we're gonna do 93 to 111,
So we're setting sail to 93 and 111.
and we are cutting out 98, 99, 101, and 102 because that's all filler.
All right, you're definitely gonna have to text me that because I will forget.
You guys at home, you want to watch filler, have fun. I watched it because I didn't think to not watch filler my first time around, but it's all useless.
Like this arc.
Well, we met Chopper.
Yeah, that's all we got out of it. That's all we got out of it.
One other thing that we see, it's not like the biggest deal, but we see the meeting of the world leaders, and we see Wapple, and we see Vivi's dad. I think his name is like something Cobra. I didn't write it down, but something with an N, Cobra. And yeah, so we see all these world leaders, and they're worried about what the fuck were they worried about? I can't even remember.
I forgot. I'm not even gonna lie. I completely forgot.
I forget too. It doesn't matter. It'll come up again. But there's that scene where Wapple slaps Vivi as a kid, just because he hates her dad. And oh my god, Wapple's the worst.
Really is.
Anyway, so Alabasta's pretty cool. We got all that set up for it, which is probably the most setup we've seen for an arc. It's like at least 4 different threads going through that right now, because we got the VV thing and Ace and a bunch of stuff, Crocodile and Baroque Works. So yeah, so I think we're gonna watch the 111. I'll text you this shit. I'll let you guys know on Twitter. Speaking of, you can follow us on Twitter at We Get Dubbed. Instagram, the same thing, right? That's how Instagram works, at We Get Dubbed.
Yes.
By the way, thanks to everybody who's been listening. We've had a bunch of extra listeners. That shit's cool.
Yeah, seriously, thank you for all the support, guys.
Keep listening, because One Piece is about to get good. So if you haven't watched One Piece yet, this is like kind of the turning point where it starts getting really, really good. Also, if you have watched it, then you know what's coming, and keep listening because it's fun. Yeah, so then we have the website, wegetdubbed.com. You could check that shit out. It pertains more to our other podcast, We Get Dubbed.
Yes, where we cover all different types of anime, which we are currently in the era of brutality. So if you're interested in hearing us talk about violent shit, give it a listen.
Well, as violent shit as we could find. We just did an episode on Vampire Hunter D that dropped last week now, by the time you're hearing this.
Also, if you happen to just know of, even if it's not your thing, give us a suggestion anyway, please.
Yeah, and we'll maybe give you a shout out if we pick your suggestion. So yeah, hit us up on Twitter, or I guess they could hit us up on Instagram with that.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Slide in DMs, boys, or girls,
Okay.
or whoever.
So, yeah, hit us up with your suggestions. We're looking for a bunch of shit. We're gonna do as many brutal animes as we can. We're talking like older animes, but you could also, if something new came out and it's like bloody as shit, we'd love to see it.
Violence is the way to go.
Yeah, so you can see we have like a bunch of nominees for different things on the We Get the website. It's pretty much finished, I guess. Anyway, this ending once again is dragging, but this is what
I tried to set it up with the "we're setting sail." Setting sail to the next arc, gents.
That would have been cool. Let's do that. Let's go back. Say it again.
All right, so
next week,
this guy Mac East, I'm Jay West. Next week we're gonna be setting sail to episodes 93 to 110.
111.
And there it's fucking botched again.
I also talked over you a bunch. We'll get it, guys. He's got something there. Next time we'll do it.
Yeah, all right. So we're off.
Yep, I'm gonna hit that outro, guys. Let it.
Maryland, right?
Oh my god. Yo, Jeff.
Yo,
I'm in. I can't listen no more. You said you're in? I'm in this here recording. All right.
Finish.